I want to know what basic bitches like me did on their 22nd birthday before Taylor Swift released her seminal classic song, 22. Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So recently, on the 19th of February, I celebrated my 22nd birthday, and that means I acquired a lot of new books. I have 10 books in total that were recently gifted to me or I bought for myself, and honestly, it hurt my arms just to hold them up in the thumbnail. You know, they were heavy. Some of them were hardcovers, and I don't have a lot of upper body strength, so. But in this video today, I am not only going to be hauling the new books that I recently acquired, I'm also going to be unhauling some books, one for each new book that I acquired. So I'm going to be adding 10 books to my shelves and also taking another 10 books away. Out with the old, in with the new. I think these 10 books that I'm unhauling are probably going to be donated to a local charity shop so that people who might like these books more than I did can enjoy them, and they'll go to loving homes. So to get started with the haul, I have, I think, 10 books here, and I think 50% of them are just from my dad alone. So thanks, Dad. These first books that I'm going to show you were actually a belated Christmas gift from him that he gave me literally the day after I filmed my holiday book haul. So they did not make it into that video, but they are now being included in this one. And he bought me the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. I can hear him in my head right now saying, it's not a trilogy, it's one book in 3 volumes. I'm gonna call it a trilogy. You can say that I'm wrong. That's fine. In my opinion, if it's 3 bound books, you can call it a trilogy, but whatever. The one book in 3 volumes. So we have The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. I don't think I need to give a summary for The Lord of the Rings because I feel like everybody who knows anything about fantasy has heard of these books. My dad definitely had some ulterior motives in buying me the complete trilogy because though my dad generally prefers nonfiction to fiction, he does love these books, and he has been telling me for what feels like a long time that I must read them, and I do want to give them a try because this is probably the most iconic fantasy ever. It really influenced later fantasy books. So I will give it a try, maybe after I finish one of the series in my series I need to finish in 2021 video. I will read The Fellowship of the Ring. I don't know, I do want to give these a try, so maybe I'll get to them in 2021. So, since I just hauled 3 books, I thought it would be fitting for me to unhaul another series, which is the Delirium series by Lauren Oliver. I have the first book, Delirium, the second book, Pandemonium, and the Delirium short stories. I never read the final book in this series because the main girl did not end up with the person that I wanted her to end up with, so I was upset. This is a young adult dystopian that takes place in a world where love is seen as a disease. However, the main character ends up falling in love, which is against the rules. I did like the first book when I was in middle school, I believe I read this, and I did like the second book until things started to go in a certain direction. This is just not really my thing anymore, and I never finished the series, so I'm going to unhaul these. Now we have 2 more books from my TBR that my dad sent me for my birthday. I was going to wait and open them on camera, but I didn't have the patience for that. I know they say that Hufflepuffs are patient, but not when it comes to opening book mail, evidently, because I could not wait. So the first of these 2 books that he sent me for my birthday is the sequel to a book that I read recently, the Camelot Betrayal by Kirsten, which is the second book in the Camelot Rising series. This is a reimagining of Arthurian legend following Guinevere as she comes to Camelot to marry Arthur, except she is not actually the real Guinevere because the real Guinevere is dead. I did enjoy the first book. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed our main character, and I was so conflicted about the different potential romances that are going on in the series because I like all of them in different ways, so I'm really not sure who I want our main character to end up with because there are so many good choices. I am excited to pick up this second book in the series, and I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I love the color scheme. I think it's so vivid and beautiful, and I need to show you guys this book without the dust jacket because I'm obsessed. Just look at this. It's so cute with the crown on it, and I love this shade of blue. I think it's so pretty. I just love the design of this series. The first book was also gorgeous. I'm obsessed. Then before we get back to the unhaul, I'm going to show you real quickly the other book my dad sent me for my birthday, which is The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. This is a recent historical fiction release that imagines where the famous author Agatha Christie went during the few days that she disappeared in 1926. I am a fan of Agatha Christie's books, so I was very intrigued by the premise of this, and I have very high expectations. This book I also think is really cool looking. If you look on the inside, it has newspaper, search for novelist. I wonder if this was actually a real story that went in the papers when Agatha Christie disappeared. I don't know, but it's cool nonetheless. So now I'm going to unhaul 2 books. The first of which is one that I read before I had a booktube channel, which is Pasadena by Sheri L. Smith. This follows a teenage girl who investigates the death of her best friend after her best friend is found floating dead in her swimming pool, and our main character Jude is convinced that it was a murder, not a suicide like is believed. And what I really remember about this book from when I read it years ago was that the ending was a huge letdown. I think the resolution to what happened to Jude's best friend was so disappointing, and so it made me feel like the book was a waste of time. And the next book I'm unhauling, I actually haven't read, but I know realistically that I'm never going to read it, and that is Vanished by E.E. Cooper. This is a young adult mystery thriller that I picked up many years ago knowing nothing about it. It follows a girl named Kayla, spelled K-A-L-A-H, and she has a crush on a popular girl at school named Beth Taylor. However, Beth goes missing. And I was excited to read this because thrillers are not very diverse, so I was excited to see a book with a queer main character. However, I read the first chapter of this for my Try a Chapter tag a year ago, and the writing is so cringeworthy. I do not see myself ever reading this book because the first line alone made me want to gag. It was bad. The next book I am going to haul is an adult thriller that I am so excited for. I have heard nothing but good things, and that is The Last Flight by Julie Clark. All the reviews I've seen for this book on BookTube have been super positive, so I am definitely excited to check this out. Our main character, Claire, is fleeing an abusive marriage, and at the airport, she, by chance, meets another woman named Eva. And Claire and Eva decide that they are going to switch plane tickets. So Claire will take Eva's flight, and Eva will take Claire's flight. However, then the plane that Eva is on crashes, and everyone believes that Claire is dead from this plane crash. So the real Claire now is stuck in Eva's life, and Eva may have had some secrets of her own. And the book I am going to be unhauling for that is Dead Girls Don't Lie by Jennifer Shaw Woof. This is another young adult thriller I bought when I was like 13, knowing nothing about it, and I read it last year for my reading vlog where I read thrillers with lie in the title because I knew if I didn't put it on that TBR, I was never going to read this. And honestly, I was not a huge fan. This follows a girl whose best friend is killed, and she and her best friend had been estranged because of a mysterious secret that they were both keeping. And, ugh, this had a mystery thriller trope that I really don't like. There was some stigmatization of mental illness, and I just really did not like this one. I think I gave it 2 stars. Again, not the sort of thing that I would be interested in anymore. The next book I purchased is Heartstone by L. Catherine White. This is a fantasy retelling of Pride and Prejudice with dragons. And honestly, that was all I needed to know because 2 of my favorite things are Jane Austen novels and dragons. So as soon as I heard the concept of this, I knew I needed to check it out. I have heard some positive reviews from other booktubers. I think Mara from Books Like Whoa said she really enjoyed this book, so I am super excited to check this out. I think it is the first in a series, so depending on if I really like this one, I might check out later books as well. Also, you might notice that there's a rip in the cover, and that's because approximately 2 minutes after I took this out of the package, I dropped it. Yeah. That's my life, you know. For that, I'm going to unhaul a book that I actually forgot I owned, which is 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. This is a contemporary novel that follows a girl whose aunt sends her on, I guess, like a scavenger hunt, you could call it, a trip, I don't know. She left for her 13 little blue envelopes with instructions for things that she has to do. I think maybe I liked this at the time I read it, but again, not the sort of thing that interests me anymore. My Barnes & Noble receipt is actually still in here. When did I get this? Oh my god. You can't even read it, it's so faded. 12/15/2013. So this was from when I was a freshman in high school. Yeah, just not the sort of thing that I would read anymore, but I am sure there is someone out there who would really love this. The next book I purchased is Fatal Throne, The Wives of Henry VIII Tell All, and this is an anthology that follows King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. I am obsessed with all things Tudor. I have been for as long as I can remember because when I was little, I used to read historical fiction books about the Tudors, and I've loved them ever since. So I definitely wanted to give this a try because it fits right into my niche interest. I also like this cover. I think it is super cool. And the stories in here are by M.T. Anderson, Jennifer Donnelly, Candace Fleming, Stephanie Hemphill, Deborah Hopkinson, Linda Sue Park, and Lisa Ann Sandell. So we'll definitely be checking this out. I love everything Tudor, so hopefully I will like this. As for the book I will be unhauling, that is going to be The Road to Character by David Brooks. This was assigned to me for my freshman seminar in college, and I don't really know how to describe this. The author is, I think, a columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and this is a book where he just recounts the life stories of people who he sees as having great character throughout history and what lessons you can learn from those people. It's not something I would have picked up if it wasn't required reading, and I really don't remember much about it. I think I thought it was okay, but just not the sort of thing that I'm interested in, so maybe somebody else will get more from this than I did. The next book I bought is another spin on Pride and Prejudice, my all-time favorite book, and I am really excited to read this one. That is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. I have seen nothing but positive reviews for this book. It has over a 4-star average rating on Goodreads, and this is a retelling that follows Mary Bennet. I think it begins before or during the events of Pride and Prejudice and then continues on after that story is finished, and it follows Mary, the forgotten sister, on her own personal journey of self-discovery, and I think she eventually finds love. Honestly, I don't know a lot about this, but everybody says it's amazing, so I have super high hopes and I'm excited to dive into this. Ironically, I feel like in recent years I've seen a lot of people on BookTube and in the Jane Austen fan community saying justice for Mary Bennet, you know, Mary Bennet never got what she deserved, that I feel like Mary is no longer the most forgotten Bennet sister and that now Kitty is the one that everybody forgets about. I think there have been some other Pride and Prejudice unofficial sequels that follow Mary, but this is the one that I've heard the most good things about, and I am excited to give it a try. The book that I'm going to unhaul for this is, again, just another book that doesn't really fit my taste anymore, so I think somebody else will enjoy it much more, and that's The List by Siobhan Vivian. This is a young adult contemporary novel, and it takes place at a high school where The List is published, which ranks the girls based on who's hot and who's not. So it follows the different girls that are on the list and their reactions to being on it. I feel like that was a terrible summary, but it's been a really long time since I read this. I think I enjoyed this book when I read it. I do vaguely remember thinking the ending was a bit abrupt. Again, though, this is just not something I'm ever going to reread, so I think it's best to donate it so it can find a better home with somebody who is going to read it and enjoy it. And the final book that I am hauling is another one I am really excited for, 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. This is a feminist retelling of the Trojan War, and I have heard so many positive reviews. I am really excited to read this, and I hope that I will love it. I also think that this cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It also has like little owls on the back. Is that not so cute? It was blurbed by Madeline Miller. I read Circe by her, and it was one of my favorite books of 2020. I thought it was impeccable. So all these books that are coming out that are retellings of Greek mythology, I just want to read them all because apparently this is something I really love. I've always been interested in mythology. I'm not an expert by any means, but this sounds awesome, and I really hope that I'm going to love it. And it's so pretty. It's such a cute cover. Finally, the last book that I'm going to be unhauling in this video is The Future of Us by J. Asher and Carolyn Mackler. This is another young adult book that I read a long time ago. It follows Josh and Emma, and Josh and Emma are teenagers living in 1996. They are best friends, and one day they discover their Facebook profiles. The problem is, Facebook has not been invented yet. These are their Facebook profiles from the future. I think I enjoyed this when I read it. I really don't remember it that much. I had to look in the dust jacket to remember the characters' names. So it's just, again, something that I'm never gonna reread and that I'm not interested in anymore. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't there been some accusations against J. Asher? Turns out he's not a great person, so not something that I'm going to read. Might as well give it to somebody else who's interested in this sort of thing. So these are the new books that I just hauled, and these are the books that I'm going to unhaul. I would hold them all up for you, but I don't think I can, so you can just look at them from here. So guys, let me know, have you read any of the books that I talked about in this video? And if so, tell me in the comment section, what did you think of them? Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every single Wednesday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a cheerful rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.